opposites, 99 names it, one unuttered. You the type to go into a war, turn and fight your brother. Disrespect your mama selling drugs to your mother. I'm the type to kill a devil when I see that motherfucker.
Chace Infinite, nice to meet you.
Good to meet you too, brother. How you doing?
I'm good. So can you introduce yourself and tell us the many hats that you have?
Okay, my name is Chace Infinite. Chase Johnson is my government name. Aaron Chase Johnson is my government name. I'm a multifaceted creative. I manage an artist named A$AP Rocky, hip-hop artist. I've been in a group called Self-Scientific, progressive, underground, conscious, street hip-hop group for about 17 years, telling my age. I do marketing for, and have done marketing for a lot of streetwear, independent sector fashion brands, and I have an agency called Agency 78 with 3 partners that you might know.
Okay. First, let's talk about Self-Scientific.
Mm-hmm.
So now the landscape of hip-hop in Los Angeles have changed, because back then, like, if you weren't, like, you have to be a gangster to be a rapper.
Mm-hmm.
It seems for us back in France.
Right.
So now, what's your point of view about the landscape of?
You know, it's crazy because Self-Scientific, we never did, you know, gangsta hip-hop per se, although, you know, Khalil and I both, you know, are from in and around those environments, grew up with, you know, some of those same influences right around us. We made a conscious decision a long time ago never to really make stereotypical music from any region, really. I think that's why we kind of stood out, but it's just interesting now to see, like, we always were, you know, kind of different or not really accepted within the landscape of Los Angeles because of our stance. We were heavily influenced by some of the East Coast stuff, heavily influenced by West Coast stuff, also, you know, influenced by the world, so our stuff was always a mixture. And we got criticized.
They used to lie to young, she fell in love with him, they met in the dead of summer. By the dead of winter, they was living with one another. He took care of her mother and eldest brother. Mama loved him not knowing what he did to her daughter. He used to keep her neck flooded with chips. She used to roll around the city with her friends in his whips. But he was insecure and he always called her his little toy full of ecstasy. He made her flip. But he was violent, with drunk, and he busted a lip. For every drop of blood, he replaced it with gifts.
Because of that now, seeing what's going on with kids like Kendrick Lamar and, you know, some of the stuff is developing out of there, Pac Div and some of that stuff, I feel like, you know, now that we're older, I feel like we had a hand in carving out that lane. But it's always been more kids like Dom Kennedy than Eazy-E. And
do you think that you, as a lyricist, it was harder for you to get known?
Yeah, well, yeah, it was definitely harder for Self-Scientific to become known because of our lyrics, but like I said, that was also a conscious decision as well. Mm-hmm. You know, Khalil and I are both Muslim. We both, like, you know, in some way, Self-Scientific was a vehicle to express, like, worldly ideas, or, you know, we kind of embodied something outside of ourselves with Self-Scientific. You know, I'm not as righteous as I might sound on the rest. You know, I smoke weed and all that shit, but, you know, on record, it comes across different because that's the element that's our expressive element, you know, street conscious, you know, trying to maybe bring something to the table that's a little more thought-provoking, but, you know.
Okay. And now do you plan to release another music?
Yeah, for sure. We'll always put out records. Self-Scientific will, you know, definitely put out something later this year. It's called Fear and Propaganda. It's like we just kind of live in between our records. We've only put out 3 records, and in between, like, we about 5-6 years apart. And we just kind of live in between. It's kind of like a living document. You just kind of soak up everything that's going on. And from my own perspective, like, collectively trying to figure out, like, how to put it in a capsule and present it to people. The last project we did was called Trials of the Black-Hearted. You know, and that actually, the title derived from, you know, ancient Kemet, when it was said that, you know, your heart was weighed. You know, and so that's where that's where the title came from. And I just thought that was, without getting too deep, I thought that was a parallel to, you know, what people are going through now. People are going through some tumultuous fucking times, and, you know, it's hard to have an open heart in regards to the world. You know what I mean? So it's Trials of the Black-Hearted, just what you go through and getting black heart. So Fear and Propaganda will be like the conditions that make the black heart.
Okay. And as an artist, was it a bit frustrating to see, like, other artists with a lot of less talent than you?
No, what do you mean less talent? That's subjective.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, it's art, man. Like,
okay.
Well, you mean like people who like I'll put it like this: like self-scientific, we make music for your head, not your ass. That's what we always say, right? We concentrate on the higher frequencies. Like, you know, even though life, you know, shit, you may hang out with me 24 hours, you'd be like, this nigga's crazy, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because we all deal with the lower frequencies, whether it be sexuality or want to get fucked up or want to beat the shit out of somebody. You know, we deal with all that. But self-scientific, I've always wanted, on our first album, we had a song called Duality. You know, and I mean, René Descartes is a very famous French philosopher. And that concept comes kind of from him, you know what I'm saying? Duality, about being able to live equally on both sides. Like, you gotta have a duality. You can't, you know, you gotta be a righteous person, but somebody do some stupid shit, you gotta be willing to punch them in the face too. So I've always wanted self-scientific. I mean, we've always wanted self-scientific to represent that.
Okay. And how the connection came with A$AP Rocky?
Through fashion, really. I met A$AP Bari first at a store that I had in the Lower East Side called Prohibit in NYC. Jabari, he's probably the biggest fashion dude out of the whole A$AP phenomenon. He'd come down and see Curtains, who works at the store. You know, Curtains works at the store for me. I've been doing Curtains since he was 17. And Jabari come down and kick it with him. We met that way, and then Rocky and those guys would come by for these events that we have at the store. You know, I was always kicking them out the back of the store smoking weed, like during events and shit. You know, but it was like a big brother, little brother type of thing, because, you know, obviously some of those guys may have known that I was an MC before or from the West Coast, and, you know, they have a certain respect for me because, you know, people they know have a respect for me. So I don't know, when Rocky first started to, you know, when Purple Swag kind of came out, you know, I was in contact with the brothers, but we weren't really, we didn't have a formal, you know, business relationship.
Purple swag, I'm in the zone, I'm getting dope. That purple swag, that purple smoke up in my clothes. That big booty, juicy fruity, yellow bone, I want a bone. I'm getting dome, I took her out, dick in the mouth, she getting on.
And, you know, I've been working in music industry since I was 15. You know, I'm 38 years old, so, and I've been rapping the whole time, but I've had more success as an executive than I have as an artist. That's another reason why Self-Scientific doesn't come out all the time, because, you know, Khalil's a Grammy Award-winning producer, luckily. You know what I'm saying? And I've been able to, you know, make a living actually working in the music industry. So, and I always tell, you know, I just wanted to, how I met them, Mr. Cutting came to work with them, is just giving them advice, man. Like, you know, they obviously knew that I had a background in music. And because they had gained a trust with me on a social level, I think it made it really easy to make the transition. Like, you know what, you need to handle this for us, because we know you honestly give a fuck about us like a big brother, and you actually know what you're talking about. So that's how it happened.
Okay. Don't you give any advice on his lyrics or his creative?
No, I joke about it all the time though. Like, if you're around, if you're around and come kick it with us, like, I don't write any of Rocky's lyrics. I don't, you know, he's incredibly creative. Like, you know. His shit may not be as cerebral as Self-Scientific, but it doesn't need to be. You know, he didn't grow up, you know, he's from Harlem, but he didn't really even know who the Nation of Gods and Earths was until I came around him. He had no idea. He's like, who's that? Who's that? Oh, that's what I be saying. You know, he doesn't really know. So no, but I joke about that shit all the time. Like, when I see people like, man, that shit's dog, and I'll tell people like, yeah, I wrote that, and like, you know, and they'll believe it sometimes just because, you know, I know I rap, but I don't, hell no, man, that kid's really talented. Okay. I mean, every now and then I might tell him, you know, about a book or some shit like that he might read and get an idea, but no lyrics, not at all.
Okay.
Trials of the black-hearted in the land where just because of your skin, crooked cops make niggas targets. My upbringing was solid, but shit I got involved with could have had me stretched out on somebody's carpet.
Peace, this is Chace Infinite, and you are now tuned into Booska-P.com. Peace.
Better, kinda odd how we made the industry out of letters. The book says there is only the word in the beginning. I get a feeling only words will be here in the end. So I align with divine energy every time. Harness the power of words written in rhyme. Simple as plucking grapes from a vine. I produce fruit, fruition form deep in the mind. A couple screws loose. Crazy as Howard Hughes laying tools on the spruce goose. Focus on my own vision, nigga, so screw you. Yeah, I form thoughts on left sides of the brain. I express it in the flesh.